Any brandy, anyone? Does that spark any memories for you, Jen?
Fortunately, it does.
So, when Jen and I were kids, we were obsessed with the Titanic movie. Maybe just like the whole idea of doing spoofs and everything was really appealing when we were kids. There was spoofs on The Lion King and Titanic and Jurassic Park. Everyone was just making spoofs. Like this was memes back in the day.
Like, parodies were so popular.
Yeah, parodies, AMVs, lyrical videos. Like, I think you did one on Spirit the Stallion or whatever, and it got a ton of views.
Yes, I did.
But circling back to the Titanic, I know in previous episodes I talked a little bit about Titanic and the whole, oh, it sunk. And, I talked about the captain and how that kind of changed the public perception of what it looks like to capsize on a boat. If you weren't here for that episode, basically I just said the Titanic was an outlier, that typically women and children are the first to go down with the ship, and the captain and crew are going to be the ones getting off the ship. But that's for that episode. The link is in the description or wherever. Circling back, I have another case for you today, and it involves somewhat the Titanic. It's known in the public sector as being called the Poop-tanic, and we're going to get into it today. We're happy to have you here with us as we delve into some truly intriguing and occasionally truly disturbing true crime cases or just like crazy events, because I just want to talk about a whole bunch of things and it's really hard to just be like, I only want to talk about murder because that makes me sad. So today we're going to be talking about the Carnival Triumph, or aka the Poop-tanic. And if you're not comfortable with poop or discussions about fecal matter, this might not be the right episode for you. I'm trying to make it sound more professional than what it is, just like a bunch of people pooping all over the place, but we're going to get into it. So, with that being said, on February 10th, 2013, the Carnival Triumph was a modern-day cruise ship with a capacity for over 4,000 passengers and crew. It was stranded, however, in the Gulf of Mexico after an engine room fire knocked out its power and propulsion. The fire was ultimately caused by a leak in a flexible fuel oil return line, but it was put out pretty quickly by the ship's automatic systems. This, however, was enough to fry the ship's electrical cables, which led to a total loss of power all over the ship. This left the ship adrift for 5 days, and there was a whole bunch of unfortunate things that occurred because of this. The total loss of power meant that the vacuum-based toilet systems, which required electricity to function, ceased to operate. This mechanical failure led to a grotesque and widespread sanitation crisis aboard, aka, we don't know where to go. It's like, all right, we can go off the ship, but then we're going to be surrounded in poo-poo. What do we do then? So it quickly became a full-scale public relations disaster. I don't know if you've ever been surrounded by like poop or smell of poop. It's really bad. And it has a lot of health concerns that it could have for you, especially on a hot cruise ship in Mexico. It's really bad. And I'm going to talk about the smell a little bit. So if you're a little bit shy about that, we're going to hear about it. So buckle up. Anyways, an investigation into the incident led by the Bahamas Maritime Authority, the U.S. Coast Guard, and the National Transportation Safety Board revealed that the disaster was not a freak accident, but it was a culmination of systematic failures. The specific diesel engine that had been involved was overdue for some maintenance for quite some time, specifically over a year, and there were records of 9 previous fuel leaks from a similar fuel line over 2 years preceding this voyage. Weeks before this fire, a U.S. Coast Guard inspection identified a short in the generator's high voltage connection box, a deficiency that was never resolved. And when this got out, the public was shocked, to say the least, but it also shows that there is a lot of oversight and corporate greed and maybe negligence that led to that. So the story is not necessarily about a fire, but the visceral experience that the passengers had to survive. With no functioning toilets, waste began to back up, and it soon flooded the cabins and the hallways, which created a major health hazard. Passengers were instructed to urinate in the shower and use red biohazard bags for defecation. You're probably thinking, that's a freaking lot of pee if it's flooding the hallways. But this particular cruise ship had over 4,000 people aboard. Of course, there's going to be a lot of pee, and the actions aboard the ship didn't help the whole growing crisis, as waste bins quickly overflowed and bags piled up in the corridors, leading to a very nasty stink. A chef on board is kind of famous for saying he saw piles of poop and toilet paper and he called it poop lasagna.
Oh my god.
The internet just like ran with that. I love that it's the chef saying it too. He's a man who knows his lasagna. Anyways, so the conditions aboard weren't just unsanitary. There was a profound psychological strain because remember, power's out. That means air conditioning isn't on. The cabins became unbearably hot and forced passengers to make tent cities. If you don't know what that is, it's basically just you don't have a home, and so you make tents all over, and there's a bunch of people that go together and create a lot of tents, and they're called tent cities. But they were using things like sheets and blankets in order to try to survive. Food supplies became scarce, leading to meals like lettuce sandwiches, which, I mean, for me, who can't have gluten, that's divine meal right there. In an attempt to boost morale, the crew implemented an open bar policy, and this was not good. It led to further chaos with passengers engaging in public urination and fighting. If you've ever drank before, you need to pee, and you need to pee a lot. So this didn't help the whole pee flooding situation.
Couldn't they just like pee into the water?
Yeah, I think I don't know why they weren't letting everyone pee off the side of the water, but I think it was just because they were stuck there. So the open bar had to be shut down. The entire ordeal was a descent from, you're on a cruise ship, you're hanging out in your bikinis, you're drinking your mimosas, to all of a sudden you have a poop cano erupting out of your toilet. So in most disaster situations, news is kind of controlled through official channels. However, with the rising of social media, initially the passengers had no cell service, but once they got a signal from a passing cruise ship, it let them make quick calls and, more importantly, upload the images and videos of the chaos to their stories. This marked the exact kind of situation unfiltered on what was exactly happening. And after those 5 days, they were rescued. The industry's response to this was the adoption of the Cruise Passenger Bill of Rights in 2013, which guaranteed passengers the right to essential provisions like food and water, the right for a refund for trips terminated due to mechanical failures. That's where we're at with the Hooptanic. Bit of a short one, but I didn't want to talk that long about the Pooptanic, but that's the episode. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you have any case suggestions, we have a Google form in the description, and make sure you wipe. We'll see you in the next episode.